G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And last year I bought this repossessed Accord Euro R for the sum total of $4,000. Pretty sweet deal, right? A blue facelift 2006 Accord Euro R with the K20 engine, 6-speed manual and Recaro interior, except there were so many things wrong with it that I've managed to split all of the repairs on this car over 6 different episodes. And if you want to check them all out, I encourage you to by clicking on the link above. As you can tell, this car was not in great shape when I bought it, but we've spent a very large sum of money getting it into the condition that you see it in now, where it is pretty much completely stock besides an intake and a reflash and drives like a dream. But how much did it cost to get to this point? Well, as I mentioned, I bought the car for $4,000, had to pay a $500 towage fee because it had been sitting at the impound lot for a number of weeks after it got repossessed, and that concluded episode 1 with the sum total spent $4,500. Then in episode 2 we took to tidying up the interior. Thankfully most of it was just blood, sweat and tears with a few friends of mine, but I did have to spend $150 repairing the steering wheel and $25 for a couple of missing interior trims that we couldn't find in the pile of garbage in the boot. In episode 3 we discovered that the engine was actually still in reasonably good shape. I mean, it did have an engine light being caused by the knock sensor going out and had a slight crack after the MAF sensor, which was causing the engine to hesitate a little bit, but overall it was still VTEC and reasonably happily. However, everything else bolted to the engine was absolutely carked. We had to spend $450 to get ourselves a set of new drive shafts because they were wobbling like crazy on the motorway. It needed a new second gear synchro for $440 because it wouldn't engage second gear at all due to being rammed in there so many times at 3 o'clock in the morning while doing massive smoky burnouts. It needed a new flywheel because it had got so hot under here at some point that the ring gear became detached from the flywheel, which meant that the starter just spun the ring gear rather than turning over the whole engine. That was $440. The battery was producing all of about 7.4 volts, so that was $180 to replace. And of course I needed a new battery bracket as well. It was $30 from pick apart. Another cabin filter was $50, and the labour to do all of that work, of which the transmission rebuild was a very big part of that, came to $800, bringing the total amount spent in episode 3 to $2,400. Episode 4 saw us redo a lot of the exterior of the repossessed Accord Euro R. The first thing to go was the horrific aftermarket exhaust that it had, which was very promptly thrown in the trash because it quite literally sounded like a 4-year-old playing a trombone with a 4-foot bell inside of a high school gymnasium. And while the stock exhaust that replaced it only cost me about $90, the idiot at the wrecking company that took it off a stock Accord Euro for me very kindly chopped through all of the rubber hangers and the metal pipe itself with the tool of a pikey rather than undoing it like a civilized individual. And thus I had to spend another $230 getting the thing welded and a whole bunch of new hangers made up for it. Thankfully, the wheels that I put on it to replace the awful white wheels that were absolutely ruined with horrible red spiky lug nuts only cost me $300. The tyres were $600, and at that point I could get the car legal to drive on New Zealand roads with a warrant of fitness, which cost a whopping $40, bringing the total for episode 4 to $1,300. And then in episode 5 we replaced a bunch of random things really. We got a new rear main seal for the car because it was leaking, that was $20. I replaced all of the sway bar end links, which again, silly me, I ordered them direct from Honda, which cost me a whopping $600. A new knock sensor was $150, a new starter motor was $330. All the labour to install all of those parts, which annoyingly, because I had to do the rear main seal involved taking the gearbox off again, came to another $400. The Euro R badge that you can see on the boot here was $75. The rear Honda logo, again, that was $40. A new pond filter was $60 because the old one was filthier than half the things teenagers watch on the internet these days. The spoiler was $130, and the cost to repaint the spoiler and the front and rear bumpers was $1,150, plus a service which cost $100. All of that came to a whopping $3,050. And while I didn't talk about these last 2 things in any specific episode, across all of the videos that I've done with this car since finishing the rebuild, I have also had to get the air conditioning compressor replaced and regassed, which was $500, and the car needed a wheel alignment because, of course, with it being Japanese, it was always trying to steer itself towards Pearl Harbor. I can't make that joke, I'm going to get cancelled. Anyway, that was $100. Oh, dearie me, this is falling off the rails already. I've done just over 5,000 Ks in this car since I picked it up all those months ago. I filled it up roughly 10 times, costing about 135 bucks a fill, and every time it's taken on roughly 50 litres. Average fuel consumption came to 10.4 litres per 100k, or about 23 miles to the gallon, which, given my old CL9 with a much larger engine was averaging around 9 litres per 100k, is absolutely terrible. Now, it's not bad, but it's not great, if I'm honest. I would have expected a bit better than that. So, adding together all of the repair costs, plus fuel, plus my $820 insurance premium, and a few other expenses here and there, and the total amount spent on my repossessed Accord Euro R comes to exactly $14,000. So, was it worth it? Heck yeah. This has for sure got to be one of the most fun cars I think I've ever owned. There is not a day that goes by where I get behind the wheel and don't have a smile on my face. Now that it's all been put back together to the best of my ability, it's so nice to come out and see it in the car park with its cool funky wheels and the delightful looking Euro R body kit and the beautifully shiny blue paint. And it drives great too. The short ratios are so fun. Instant response from the engine. Limited slip diff works perfectly, foot to the floor, just all the way through the corner. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. It is a tremendously fun car to drive. I absolutely love it. But, and this is going to shock a lot of people, it's sold. And I'm sorry, I really wanted to hold on to it, but I mentioned when I finished the car, I don't have a use for it, right? I've got my Lexus, which is a great car. I've got a company car as well, which can handle all the daily driving duties. And while I do absolutely love this car, I want it to go to somebody else who is also going to love it. And the person who has bought it seems like exactly that type of person. Just like with my last CL9, it's off to Auckland, it's going to a great home, and somebody is going to have a fantastic amount of fun with this car. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Kiwi Car Life. I hope you've enjoyed the repossessed Accord Euro R series. The next project to follow up on this series of videos is undecided, but if you find anything on TradeMe or Facebook Marketplace that you think I would enjoy rebuilding on the channel, then hit me up on my Instagram. It's linked down in the description. And if you want to go back and see all of the videos that I've done with this car on the channel, then click on this playlist right here. I encourage you to check it out. They're only like 5 or 6 minutes long each, and it makes for a great afternoon's worth of watching, if I don't say so myself. Thanks for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next time.